If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. We're in the front yard garden today, and we're going to plant a lot of the items out. I think pretty much almost everything will plant out this afternoon here to get the garden completely planted. We've waited multiple weeks longer than normal. I have prepped the soil here in order to get ready a couple of weeks ago so we can make one move and get this all planted. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plant along the fence here. We've got this fence that separates an elevation from a sidewalk about 6 foot down. And I've got three bays here in which I can plant. So I'm going to do 2 bays of pole beans, Blue Lake pole beans, because we're going to focus heavily on the pole beans this year, and 1 bay of cucumbers. So I've already prepped it. I've tilled this up, and I'm walking in where I tilled, yes. But I'm just going to space them about every 3 to 4 inches here. If I see a seed that's kind of not so healthy looking, I'll throw a couple of extra ones in that area. This doesn't have to be a measurement. Get the tape measure out and make sure everything's precise. And then once I'm done here, I'm just going to cover over about a ½ inch of dirt. Again, good loose dirt. And the advantage, if you have this fence, you don't have to have a trellis. It simply will climb up. This area is here about 150 square feet. This bed, front yard garden. In places I need to make the trench a little bit bigger, I'll do that. In this bay here, just going to do some Boston pickling cucumbers. Nothing fancy. Pickling cucumbers you can eat. Also, you can pickle them. It just doesn't work the other way, like Market More cucumbers. Those are the slicing ones. And it doesn't, they don't pickle very well. So we've utilized the fence back there as part of the already developed trellis. I will get some leeks and onions and put right here in front of you. On this end, I'm going to do tomatoes, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. Then I'll do some peppers, and then zucchini, crookneck, and black beauty. And I haven't done anything with this portion of the garden, and I'm not going to. There's some leftover garlic here that wasn't harvested. It's going to be very small bulbed because it grew out of a bulb that wasn't harvested. I got some volunteer radishes. When those go to seed, I'll be able to eat the pods. This used to be a garden over here, but as these trees continue to grow, it keeps encroaching shade most of the day. So it's just more of a smaller garden here. And we'll work with what we have. Also have a yacon, a couple of yacons, root crops from South America that we grow. And I'll get those planted as well. So let's start over here and work our way from left to right. And I'll get the leeks and onions right here before I create my rows. One more row here. So I used to be very meticulous about spacing and depth, and found out that as long as you put them in and you're moderately conservative about it, they're going to grow. They want to grow. They're designed to grow. So I've got some white Spanish onions, some Walla Walla onions and some American flag leeks, all started from seed. And just kind of mixing them in, and as they start to develop, I can identify what they are. Spacing them about 6 inches apart, give or take. Just about the right amount I grabbed out of the container. Now you want to be careful if you're buying onion starts that you get if you're in the northern portion of the United States, long day, central portions neutral, or short day in the south. Okay, done there. You got about 6 inches to 10 inches over there from for the cucumbers. All right, that's done. Now, some Delta squash, hybrid squash, and Black Beauty summer squash. That's the yellow and the green. Oh, I see I have one here. Go right there. Okay. So, onions are there. I got to come off about 2.5 foot. So right there, it's going to be a good spot. And I think I'm just going to go with one because space is going to be that's going to really fan out about 5 foot across. So I'm just going to go with the Black Beauty zucchini because that is a very thin-skinned squash that can be cooked up very nicely or eaten raw. So I'll just do 3 seeds there. That's done. I was going to do another one back here, but there's just no room. It wouldn't be wise to put another plant back there when I've already got cucumbers and beans on that fence. Now we're going to plant yacons. If you're not familiar with what a yacon is, it is a root tuber that originates from South America. And when harvested after the frost kills the top, it looks like a watermelon, or no, it looks like a sweet potato, but has a taste of a watermelon, apple, carrot. We've got some from Garden Center in Oregon 2014, and you save the rhizomes each year to carry on that particular, that's how you save or replant them. So the rhizomes, and you put them in a bucket of sand. We do it in the attic where it gets chilled, but it doesn't freeze. Let's see, how many plants do I have here? Okay, there's one. And all of these, that's all coming off one tuber there. So they're very hardy, meaning bugs do not bother them. I'm going to plant these two together because I just don't think that one's going to survive since I tore the roots. And they get 5 to 7 foot tall, produce here in zone 6, 3 to 5 pounds of tubers, and there's yacon syrup, that's where that comes from. You can dehydrate them, turn them into chips. Several different options when it comes to yacon. In addition to what I've already shared with you about what we're going to plant or what we're planting, I also have some sprouted store-bought potatoes that we're going to plant right next to these peppers. So I had these peppers in a larger container, and then pulled them out as I planted in the big garden. Now I'm just going to dig around and find some of the larger ones here. I need 3 and everything came out together. Okay. So these are very, very small seedlings. Nothing, I used the larger ones at the big garden. So then I'll use what I have left at our Northwoods garden in zone 4. So those are 3 there that I'm happy with. There's a couple there. I'll put these back in the container. That one's no longer good. The secret to planting these peppers is you're going to plant them in the same depth in which they were in the container. So basically you can see right where the root zone is at. We got a lot of soil here, so I got to be careful that I don't bury them too deep. And then I'm going to, where I made that dig out for the hole, I'm going to leave it be as a water catchment. For all of these, the hole's a little too deep, so I'm just going to fill in where I need to for the peppers, and then leave that little bowl shape to catch whatever water and get it to the root zone. Okay, now we're going to get the potatoes planted here. So I'm going to do 2 rows, maybe 3 here. 2 definitely. Now these are just store-bought potatoes that have gone to seed. Got a rotten apple there. I'll just throw that in there, why not? These are russets that are going to seed, or they're sprouting. Not going to do anything but put them right in the ground. Red potato. Another russet. And I'm just spacing them. I'm going to go 6 inches just because I got a lot of potatoes and a little space here. What do I have here? I don't even know what I have here. That one sprouted. That can go in. That one sprouted. That can go in. These here have not sprouted, but they're all shriveled. So I'm just going to throw them in the hole and see what happens. Because they're not doing any good, and they're not going to do any good in the compost bin. So that's over planted, but may get something interesting out of the deal. Now, with potatoes, I don't heel them up. I dig them deep, and then I just cover them over. Now, notice on all of these items, I am not adding any additional fertilizer to them. You can choose if you want to. I'm just putting this in, just filling the garden up, and if I see that they are lacking, I can always add later a liquid if need be. So here I have 6 areas where I'm going to plant 6 holes for tomatoes. Between the potatoes and the tomatoes, there is a gap there, but by the time those potatoes fill in and these tomatoes fill in, that gap, which is 18-20 inches, will not exist. So I'm not going to try to squeeze something in there. And these may need to be spaced a little bit more as we get planting. I'm going to do 2 cherry tomatoes, which are in this container, because I didn't separate them out. And they're very, very root bound, but they're extremely hydrated, so I'm just going to gently harvest 2 off of this. There we go. Put the rest back in there. I do not know the varieties. We just did cherries in one container and beefsteaks in the other, and that was the way it went. Okay. So I'm planting it really deep, just like this here. There used to be a time where I would spend, and I timed it, 7 minutes per tomato plant, digging the hole, putting the fertilizer in, prepping the tomato, putting the tomato in the ground, backfilling, 7 minutes for a tomato plant to be planted is far too long for me to be doing that, regardless if I have 20 tomatoes, 5 tomatoes, or 100 tomatoes. So what I did on those there, I will do on the other 4, and then this should be just about completed. So I've got all 6 tomatoes planted. I will bring cages up and put those in. And in the corner of the garden here, all 4 corners, I did plant a couple of sunflowers. We'll see what comes up. So that is how easy and quick it is to plant a very small garden and get a lot of produce planted. Thanks for watching. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.